Welcome to the Vanguard channel. Today we are doing a Bigbelly deck profile version 2.0 after some more in-depth playtesting on my end. Also, this beautiful Great Nature playmat will be available at the link in the description. Starting off with 4 Bigbelly. Now, considering we run Mike Saburo, you don't actually have to run your primary grade 3 because you will usually get it. However, considering how good the rearguard skill is, I'm still gonna do it. So with the last Bigbelly, we actually didn't have to do it, but right now I would say it's very necessary. This pseudo Crayon Tiger skill is just so good. Well, it's actually more of a Tuskmaster skill. Regardless, very solid stuff. Run him at 4. 2 Rhino, just insane stuff with Mana Garmer. We only need 2 because generally you can fetch it with Mike, so if you really need it for that insane Mana Garmer play, I will explain later, then you still have access to it. 4 Ocelot Tiger, basically the replacement of Binoculus Tiger, same skill, but then also an extra skill to get some draws and some power on your other rearguards in the later game if you need it. It costs a counterblast, but this deck really doesn't use a lot of it, so that's fine. 4 Crayon Tiger. Still the best card in the deck. Became even more insane now that Barrow makes both columns very good, and keep in mind that together with Mana Garmer and Rhino, you get that double Rhino swing just of this girl. 3 Lesser Writer, purely for the Overlord matchup. 4 Stride Fodder, because we want to stride, and we do only run 6 grade 3s. Then 4 Delibelly. I'm missing one right now, the post office did some dumb stuff, but after testing, we can actually have enough soul if you're smart with your G-guards, and I also changed something about my trigger lineup, so this is fine. We don't always get to do it because we don't always have the soul, but as long as you play around it, you will get it off sometimes, making it decent enough. 4 Mike, early engine of the deck together with 4 Duckbill, still staples, still the best thing this deck has to offer, being able to rush at grade 2. You could probably see that in my own Great Nature video against Gavail. I will link it up somewhere, but yeah, insane rush, very powerful. 4 of this, we really need it because of the soul. 4 of the soul charge critical trigger. I bumped this up to 4, I had to cut my poor hedgehog for it. But 4 is just too important. The soul, we sometimes really need it for Barrow. 3 Hedgehog, poor Hedgehog. And 1 Donkey. This Donkey is so good because of people start doubting how many triggers you run, and also free soul. Then 4 of the heal, which we almost never use for counterblast. We usually soul charge with it in order to get our Barrow off. And then 1 Telescope Rabbit. Now the interesting thing about Rabbit is that if you don't have an Ocelot, this one replaces the Ocelot in order to get your retires for Mike and Duckbill. But if you do have an Ocelot, you can simply call it to the front row, call your Mike and Duckbill here, pump the skills on this, swing with Ocelot, make this a 9, and then swing with 14. Now one of the people in the comment section of my video didn't understand this super basic fucking concept because they probably played Great Nature once and think they know the deck. In general, Telescope Rabbit is primarily there to replace Ocelot, so if you have an Ocelot, the value of this card diminishes greatly. However, if they ride a 10k, of course there's still some point calling it behind. However, even back in the day, this card has always been kill Timka fodder, just kill it off the moment you no longer need it. Now for the G-Zone, we have 1 Zoa. Just the fact that it's in your G-Zone makes it so that people need to keep a perfect guard in their hand or lose. 3 Barrow. Barrow is the stride of the deck. Generally, you will always stride into it, except if you want to go into Mana Garmer. This beast makes gigantic columns, gives you draws, because at one point they will need to let you hit. And so because of that, Barrow is Bay. 2 Mana Garmer, because the play with Rhino is still very solid, especially when you don't have a lot of face-up G cards, because then the power Barrow gives isn't that important either. 1 Afank, just in case for Overlords. 1 Fernigas, just in case for Chaos and just there in general. 1 GB8, because it does happen. 1 Hrimturs. If everything is going terribly wrong, this is still a good replacement for Barrow. Generally, it will be my first flip target the second I go into Barrow, unless I don't need the Fernigas and the Afank for the matchup. For G-Guards, we have 2 Almirage. Now, the second Gredora goes out of the meta, this is out. It's not that good, but it just counters Gredora's skills so hard. 2 Sankalpa. Just a better armadillo, really. It can't clear your field, but generally it does give you the draw when you have an empty field. So that's why we do run 1 armadillo, in case you have a full field and you need to clear some stuff just to desperately guard. And then 1 of this, for if your hand is kind of bricky, you think, okay, I'm just gonna replace my hand, and that's that. Also boosts up the power of Barrow and gets you closer to GB8. So that was my Bigbelly deck profile. I think I kind of nailed the list by now. My last list was like my first thoughts after a little bit of playtesting, and okay, it felt smooth, but this one, after some way deeper playtesting, really feels like the solid build I'm gonna stick with. As always, this playmat will be available at the link in the description. Subscribe to the Solemn Vanguard channel for more, click the bell button to stay up to date, and I will see you soon. Ciao!